Whenever the same people that benefits from an outcome are able to easily produce that outcome, that's exactly what they're doing. Because Caucasian writes our narratives, they distort all facts about us to fit their race's internal narratives about us, and to serve their race's agendas against us, and to also condition black people to perceive ourselves through a false identity that gives them greater power over us. Everything we're told and believe comes from Caucasians. Ask yourself, when in history did they earn our blind trust? They merely brainwashed millions of us to believe that they have, but they have never actually earned the blind trust of black people. Everything they tell us are lies designed to increase their power and control over us. They tell us that all health study results favor themselves over us to instill the myth of their racial superiority into our subconscious minds. This instills a value system into our minds that makes us more compliant with their white dominance over our lives. In many cases, it makes us even prefer it. They tell us that we're killing each other at the highest rate. This is designed to make us perceive that it's ourselves that are our own worst enemies. It makes us afraid of each other, and it also shifts our collective aggressions away from the white oppressive society and redirect it towards ourselves. It also profoundly divides us and makes us believe that we therefore need whites to govern over our lives. They tell us that black men are the worst fathers and the worst husbands, and that black women are less supportive and nurturing than white women. This makes black men and black women perceive each other negatively. It's how they create division within the black population at our most intimate levels. Because of this propaganda campaign, many black people literally believe that they're inherently better off if they get a white partner or spouse. They also keep us believing in fraudulent words about ourselves on every matter, because this demoralizes us, divides us, makes us self-loathing. And keeping us within this condition is how they prevent us from unifying against them. They also propagated the lie that we made the N-word ours and had used it ridiculously in power us. Millions of us then started ignorantly calling ourselves niggers, totally clueless of the fact that doing so actually psychologically conditions us to function from a false inferior identity that gives the white society greater power over us. Whenever oppressors are able to increase their power over the oppressed by feeding them lies, they're always doomed. This is especially true when those oppressors have proven themselves as being the most notoriously deceitful, racist, and most narcissistic group throughout history. They do these things to us because it's the people they are. It's the way they've always been, and it's the only way they know how to be. The white society are waging information warfare against black people. And through it, they've mentally enslaved millions of black people through their monopoly over information that we receive and believe. Those black people who don't critically think never notices their mental change. You know, some of our minds are in a slumber, and we don't understand how we're being manipulated. I will cash out $1,000 to any black person who can confirm their negative assessment about our racial group without relying on information that comes from white sources. From white sources who maintain their power and control over us by keeping us believing the fraudulent words about ourselves. Those who believe that they've confirmed their negative assessments about us based upon their own experiences are delusional, because it's not humanly possible to accurately assess the collective state of millions of people based upon anyone's individual experiences. Those negative perceptions that we have about our people were shrewdly indoctrinated into our minds by the white society that controls all of our statistics, our narratives, and our media images. The white society literally owns black people's interpretation of ourselves, and they maintain their dominance by keeping us believing the frauds and words about ourselves. The reason why many black people think that they've confirmed their assessments, because once a false belief has been successfully embedded into the mind, you then only notice those things that appear to confirm the belief. Here's an example of how this works. It's a flaw within the human psyche. If you are made to believe that all Asian drivers are terrible drivers, you'll only notice the Asian getting a ticket. You'll only notice the Asian having an accident. And you'll be psychologically blinded for noticing the actual millions of Asian drivers. And then you will insist that you've seen with your own eyes that it's true that Asians are bad drivers. Although you have not. The white society keeps black people believing the fraudulent worst about ourselves. And then we only notice those things that appears to confirm it. and then we're psychologically blinded from seeing everything that refutes it. The white society have thoroughly studied how to hack the human mind, and they use that gained knowledge to mentally enslave black people. Those of us who tell you the truth are trying to free you from a mental prison you don't even know you're trapped within. One love and peace.